The first thing is for us to make the classroom better, so that educators can feel comfortable to work in the classroom. But the second thing also is to give the power back to the teacher, so that the teacher can be in charge of the class. Because if the teacher is not in charge of the class, it's very, very difficult for the teacher to execute the responsibilities that we expect out of them. But the third thing, which is to me is very, very important, is the condition of employment. Their conditions need to be conducive for teaching. Their conditions need to protect them from all kinds of things. But the most thing is the wallet. I really believe that we need to finalize the review on the salaries of our teachers. We need to finalize the benefits that are due for teachers. If you go to countries like Finland, Singapore, only the best are teachers, and those are the careers that people fight for. But if you check our country, the opposite is true. So we need to ensure that the conditions of employment are conditions that all of us can be proud of. Fourthly is to protect them. There are lots and lots of teachers that are leaving the profession unnecessarily, purely because someone is dangling the carrot of a salesperson or call center agent, and you lose the crop that is good, because those that are not good will remain because they know they have nowhere to go. So we need to ensure that we protect them. And lastly, I think that's the issue that they've just raised, the violence in our school, the misconduct through our learners and other things. So those are the things that we need to eliminate, and eliminate them quickly.
Right, Lesufi reflected on the strides made by his department and praised teachers in Gauteng for adapting to new systems and innovative ways of teaching. It seems new ways of teaching will be upon us very soon. A conference underway in Sandton, and some of the speakers predicting that by the year 2030, children will be taught by robots. So what does that mean for the education profession? The Edutech Africa conference has been held north of Johannesburg this week.
Well, from our point of view, especially in Gauteng, we're moving with something that we call an e-educator, an educator that can move with times, an educator that can take us to what we call the fourth industrial revolution, an educator that can adjust to the economic conditions of our country. For example, we've just finalized some of the preliminary agreements with NECSA. NECSA is a country's nuclear hub, is an institution that has been given the power to deal with the nucleus of the country. We really believe that's the future. So our schools around Atteridgeville, we are converting 3 of them to be schools of nuclear. That specializes on nuclear, so that children, while they're still in grade 8, 9, and 10, they can know about nuclear medicine. They can know about the energy of nuclear. So they can know about many things that are related to nuclear. We're also in discussions, and we're finalizing those discussions with SAA in Kempton Park. We're creating a school of air aviation where teachers will teach learners in class how an aeroplane flies, why it flies, while it's up there, and all the carriers within the aviation industry. We have just concluded a huge agreement with Dinel. We have a school in Soweto where we are teaching children how to dismantle an engine of an aeroplane and also assemble it again. Dinel is assisting us to identify talent. So you need an e-teacher. Gone are the days where you need a teacher that must teach learners to praise a frog, or another thing. We need to move with times and ensure we've got a teacher that will understand the economic challenges and the economic development that are taking place in our country, especially in Gauteng, where we're the economic hub of the country. It's a huge game changer. I mean, every teacher has an association with a chalk and a chalkboard and a duster. To change that within 3 years, where all our matric classes are using a paperless platform, where there's one teacher, one laptop, one learner, one learner, one tablet, and one classroom, one smart board. It's a major game changer. And to ensure that those teachers were trained and they came back to impart that knowledge to our learners, it changes the scope. So the paperless classroom, it's a major achievement. We are quite proud as a province, but we are also thankful to the Premier of the province for believing in this modernization of our classroom. Obviously, there will be challenges where people will see this investment as an easy thing to steal or an easy thing to damage or vandalize. But we're in Gauteng, so we need to accept that these things will take place. But our online registration was also a huge success. I mean, the mere fact that almost 500,000 parents applied for their kids through the online registration, and the online registration stood firm. It's indeed an achievement. So we're quite happy as a province that we are closing that digital gap, and we're making our children to be the beneficiaries of our programs and our initiatives.
So today's World Teachers Day, and you know what, we often underestimate the influence and the power that teachers have, particularly in junior school and high school, because they shape our futures. Sometimes they don't even realize just how much so. Do you have a teacher or a couple of teachers that you remember that sort of set you on your way?
So Mrs. Hoadley in high school, I was very lazy, and a history teacher, and she said, maybe, Francis, maybe, if you put in some work before your matric final,
you might pass.
You might do really well. So I really like that encouragement. And I was just, while we were watching, trying to think of these